Hey, good night, my people. How's everything going? Hope and trust you had a good day. Yes, tonight or today is Saturday, the 10th of January 2026, and the time right now is 9:40. I just finished listening to the a recording of the Prime Minister on his show this afternoon, and I wanted to listen because I have a bet with a comrade. And the comrade says, I'm going to bet you that he's going to come and throw the blame on the people and accept no culpability for himself and his government. So I wanted to listen to see whether I won my bet, yes or no. It would appear as if I would have lost my bet. I've already called the person and told him that, yeah, I have to pay up. But such is life. It was just a friendly bet. It was just a friendly bet because I was saying to the comrade, dog, can't be so brazen. But seems so. Seems so. What I want to do is to look at the parts of what I heard and the parts of what I went through. I went through the entire thing, but what I figured to be important to me. Of course, persons can go and look at it for themselves and draw their own conclusion, but that is what it is for me. The Prime Minister indicated that the fact that our people, hundreds of people, even on social media, would have expressed concerns, I think that would have helped to justify the position that we took as far back as August last year. And I smiled when I saw that because I am no politician. And I understand that if you don't bring the people along with you, you're gonna have a problem. So here he is now speaking to the backlash after he would have said what he said last week. And he's actually saying, I appreciate what was being said for the most part, because they can now go to the State Department and say, hey, when we said this is what our people is, this is what we're talking about. But Mr. Prime Minister, if you had done it the reverse way, if you had engaged your people, hey, look, this is where we find ourselves and this is what we're thinking, what are you thinking? I'm sure that it would have gone, you would have had more strength and leverage having these discussions. But I mean, I guess that's where they say you're trying to hold back the horse when it's already bolted. You are trying to close the door when the horse have already bolted. It's just that. Again, as I said, the Prime Minister keep going between agreement and memorandum of understanding, and I take from my insurance background, I take what was said first. So I am of the opinion that it is an agreement. I'm not accepting no memorandum of understanding. Until I see it, I'm not accepting it. And talking about seeing it, the Prime Minister indicated that again, let me state here that the agreement that we have with the United States is that we ought not to publish the agreement. So we will certainly keep to that commitment. So they agreed not to publish. Well, his agreement, he said. Yeah, as I said, he goes between agreement and memorandum of understanding. And until I see it, it's an agreement in my mind. And I have to smile, because life is a bitch. Calm is a bitch. I can remember how the Labour Party beat the UPP and Dr. Cart when Dr. Cart went about dealing with the negotiation for the I think it was an Italian loan, if I'm not mistaken, for the Royal Antiguan. When he came back and said he's not able to say what was published or what was agreed to because there were other people who the Italians were speaking to and they didn't want to play one against the next. And I remembered how the Labour Party beat the UPP. What happened here now? Let me state here that the agreement that we have with the United States is that we ought not to publish the agreement. You see how hypocrisy is? You see how hypocrisy is? First, it was the IMF. Beat down the UPP for the IMF. Then you come back. If the plan is right, I will go to the IMF. No, you have entered into an agreement. That's what the word I'm using with the United States, and you're trying to tell your citizens that you can't disclose it. You can't disclose it. Well, I, for one, am not accepting it. I am not accepting that. right? We will see if the majority of people accept that come next election time. But I am not accepting that. Not me. It's just you're all a bunch of hypocrites, if you ask me. Beat down Dr. Cart with UPP. And what happened, you know? What happened here now? You know what I mean? Trying to come and say, well, you're duty bound to even though you have this agreement, you're duty bound to at least tell the people what's in the agreement. We don't want you to tell us nothing. We can read for ourselves. Publish it that we can read it and understand it for ourselves. I, for one, am not taking the word of no politician. None. I'm not taking the word of no politician. I know my friend Knight used to say, when you shake the hand, check your fingers. What you all say, I have to verify it. And certainly, even with this, we would have heard from last week that you're talking about 10. And then I hear Colin saying, well, based on some letter he read, the letter said 12, as opposed to 10. You know what I mean? No, man. That credibility thing with politicians in my book, mm-mm. I hear what you all say, but I have to verify. I have to verify that. So that is just the beginning of what I would have heard, and then I hear him again saying that I instructed Saran to write to the State Department to indicate that we will cooperate. Well, maybe Chet gonna now come again. I tell I already know Saran work under my ministry, so regardless of who tell you what, the prayer should go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. A bunch of clones, if you ask me personally. You know what I mean? It is without a doubt that this government have run off course in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind about that at all. There's no doubt in my mind about that at all. Well, as I go on, some people had to, flee their country. Well, he's talking about refugees. So the United States is asking countries, which it is over 100 countries, that's what he's saying, to help to reduce that burden, right? To take a small quantity. And we have said that we can accommodate possibly up to 10 refugees. I already tell you it's 12 according to some letter Colin read, and he acknowledged that it's not 10, it's 12. But here's what I'm saying. We would have, well, those of us who listen to American politics, um, run up to the last election, we would have heard that America under Joe Biden opened the borders. Whosoever will may come. Whosoever will may come. You hear Trump said repeatedly how much millions of people came in. People from, you were saying in Venezuela, they opened the jails, the asylum, they send everybody. And now you're coming to tell us. Our prime minister is coming to tell us. So if the United States is asking countries, which it is, over 100 countries, to help reduce that burden, to take a small quantity, we should. So Biden and them didn't know what they were doing to the country. Biden and them didn't know what they were doing to the country. That is our responsibility. I thought it was our responsibility, your responsibility to look at our borders here, which is something I'm going to be coming out to the same, you're saying what you're saying here. This thing is just, are you going to tell me that this man haven't run off course? You listen to leading up to the American situation, what we're saying. And the American people agreed with Trump that, hey, this matter, immigration matter, have to be dealt with. Because Trump didn't hide in leading up to the election what he was going to be doing if he should have been elected again. He didn't hide. And he's carrying out what he said he was going to be doing leading up to the election. So you're going to now tell me that somebody created a problem for them or a country, I'm not talking about individual, a country created a problem for itself and then now come to tell you just carry a little bit of burden. Okay, well, me broke. Mr. Prime Minister, me broke. Why me gonna give me some of the money that you haven't helped me? Why me gonna give me $500,000 of your money to help me? If that is your reasoning, that can make any sense? Well, y'all just full of shit. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And if we have deportees who, for example, may overstay their time in the United States, but they're not involved in any criminal activity. They have certain skills. Let's say they're accountants and so on. We need accountants here. That's a reason why we can't take of you. There's a reason why we can't take of you. I mean, really? Really? So America is going to send out all immigrants with misdemeanors who overstayed, blah 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 blah, and then keep the violent ones. Really, boy, it's just amazing how ridiculous these people are. I'm hearing from people who are close to people in the cabinet. I'm hearing it being said that some cabinet members say, them don't know about that. So when you're hearing about 4 months and 5 months ago, them don't know about that. So I said to the person, well, maybe since he's giving instructions to Ron Sanders and the minister, you know, well, maybe there's some truth to that. But I am hearing more and more now that other members of cabinet is saying that them they don't know about the 4 months ago agreement and 5 months ago agreement. Um, they will come out if they want to come out and say it. If they don't want to come out and say it, if they want to keep putting it out there, through other means, well, I know it's collective responsibility, and if a decision is taken that you're so adverse to, you weren't elected as for a government for a cabinet or for a ministerial job. You're elected to be a representative of the people. So you don't have to be there. So if you want to stay there and take the burden, okay, fine. But for them people, for those who are telling people they're not on board that, no, 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 no. Be a man, get some balls, do the right thing. That is where I stand with that. So why nothing was said publicly before? Because you see, even in that initial framework document, they have asked for the information to be kept confidential. But confidential, if it's not national security, what confidential? We're keeping away from people. We're keeping away from people. And if you notice, none of the countries would have published the agreement that would have been signed. See, you go with the word agreement again. I mean, you keep repeating the same thing over and over, and then we're supposed to believe it's a memorandum of understanding. Like we're all fools out here. None of the countries would have published the agreement that would have been signed because each of us would have undertaken not to publish the agreement. So I guess, well, Dominica and Dominicans, ask your prime minister for a copy. See if he says the same thing like what Gaston is saying. Sorry. And petitions, you all do the same thing too. You all do the same thing too. Ask your prime minister for a copy and see if he tell you that I can't show y'all. See, I'm going to be coming back to the prime minister for Senkit shortly too. He continues. Having a financial requirement to get a visa is nothing new. Let me go with this part here a bit. There's a part I'm not really call a name, they call it. I'm not getting into that. Every single person who went to the United States to Barbados to get a United States visa had to demonstrate that they had the capacity to feed themselves while in the United States. Many of them borrow and so on to put money in their bank accounts to get a bank statement to show that they have 5,000 US or 10,000 US. This is how the system would have worked. Many of them, they get a visa, they say they're going on vacation, and they don't come back. They violate, they utilize the social services. Some of them become bums, and then they go on there, blah, 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 blah. But what I'm asking now, based on what was just said there, by our Prime Minister, isn't it the same thing happening in Antigua? Haven't we been saying into Antigua that we get seemingly the worst from other societies that come here? When you all boast about having the doors open, and we've been more liberal than other countries and blah 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 blah. Isn't it the same thing here? So how come you haven't put a bond in place to protect us, Antigua? But you understand why Trump is doing what he's doing. Because people go at the visa, they go up there, they say they go overstay. They say they're going on vacation. They utilize the social services. Isn't that the same thing here in Antigua? I gave a story. I'm not sure if I had it on a recording. I think I did. Where just after carnival, we're sitting down where we normally sit, and a guy passed. I wouldn't call the nationality that he's from. Walking gingerly. When they find out Rob, he say he's chef. He follow woman. He never see woman like that. Where he come from, he never see woman like that unless he pay money. That we tell us there. And he had just come here and his mother took him to, I think the man, I think he's a Dr. Roberts. I think the name is Dr. Roberts now, up at Clearview. Because when I heard the name, is Roberts? Is Roberts? I don't remember the name. I think it's Roberts. But when I heard it, when it's the name, I thought it was one of them Antiguans who went down to Cuba. But somebody was telling me no, it's another doctor up at Clearview. He just come. His mother done take him for Clearview for medication, and he was going to get a job the next Monday. We were talking about it might have been a Friday from them, Thursday, Friday. The next Monday, he was going to get a job at the security company. I said it already. I said it already. So since you so know that what Trump is doing is good, looking out for America, warm to Antigua, and Barbuda. Who will look out for Antigua and Barbuda? Isn't the same strain happening on our social services here in Antigua? Medical benefit of cry. Medical benefit of cry. Persons come here, get onto the system, medical benefit of cry. People in there tell you that. So what kind of choppiness you hear from these people, boy? Man, this thing is just so goddamn frustrating, right? How many of them go and get healthcare services and so on and don't pay and come back here? So we have to be honest. There has been abuse. So no abuse here. No abuse in Antigua. No abuse in Antigua. Our own people here in Africa and the Caribbean, they have been abusing the social services in the United States. So I believe what they're doing now, they're having these bonds to ensure compliance. Our issue is we have written to the State Department to say, hey, look, our overstay rate is no worse than others. And at the same time, the percentage of our people who migrated and are using social services is no greater than the other Caribbean countries. So what we want to make sure is that the policy is not discriminatory. What ultimately our people should understand is that government is not causing this. It is our people. That's where I lost my bet. That's where I lost my bet. Because the person told me it was going to be said. And I lost the bet. I have to pay up. That's where it goes. But you know this about America. America is putting a band in place to protect themselves from the abuse. But one to Antigua is open sesame, almost still come. Open sesame, almost still come. And then who pay? It's not the same as taxpayers. That's not the same thing the Americans and them are complaining about. You have people come there, then get that, and it's taxpayers thing. You follow news from London. It's not the same thing over there. People come and stay in the hotels and who pay? Taxpayers who can't even take on vacation in London. You know, you all are sickening, man. Trust me. You all are sickening. This part now, going to, I think it's Dr. Drew, the man's name is for St. Kitts. The issue of accepting people from the Caribbean, I don't think that arises. And then how do you call a CARICOM national who is a part of the same integration movement, a refugee? A CARICOM national that comes back to the Caribbean is a national, not a refugee. Now, none of our countries within the Caribbean region, CARICOM region, none of us have any conflict to the extent that we have conflict refugees who cannot go back to their respective countries. So I'm saying that to say, I mean, I've been asked, and just in passing, I just don't understand what is being communicated here. When I heard it, I was wondering to myself, what was that about? But I kind of suspected it had something to do with St. Kitts because the St. Kitts Prime Minister said that they have agreed to only accepting CARICOM nationals, to which the Americans would be responsible for the cost, and then they would move them on to their country. That to me is fantasy land too, but that's what he said. And then he further said they're not accepting Haitians because of the security threat. Well, I'm understanding tonight on another show, somebody called me and asked me if I heard on another show or on a show that a government spokesperson indicated that Antiguans have decided to take in Haitians also. So when I heard that, then this made sense to me. Right? When I heard that, this made sense to me. Because obviously, Antigua and Dominica maybe, well, if you listen to not Dominica, St. Kitts. If you listen to the St. Kitts interview at the very beginning, you hear the Prime Minister of St. Kitts say his first priority is St. Kitts. He said it clearly. His first priority is St. Kitts. And as far as St. Kitts was concerned, as far as he's concerned on behalf of St. Kitts, that Haitians in the country would create a security issue. So they're not doing that. That's what he said. Well, I'm hearing tonight that our government made no such distinction. So we're on the books, on the agreement, and I'm still using the term agreement. I'm not using a memorandum of understanding until they show us. They must show us. The matter is not a matter of national security from our end that we can't see it. It's not a democracy we're supposed to be running here. It's a democracy we're supposed to be running here. America is supposed to be the #1 democratic country in the world. What you tell me about you can't show agreement? I suspect you all know why you all don't want to show the agreement to the people. What I'm saying, an election must come. Another election must come. And if the majority of the electorate in this country accept this bullshit, then we got to look for Trolan. Because it can't work. It can't work. This it can't work. This it can't work. This it can't work. So let us wait and hear what they say. Well, again, as I said, I heard somebody say it was said by a representative or a spokesperson for the no government saying that they have agreed to take Haitians. And St. Kitts is clear as to their position. So I can see now what our prime minister is talking about here when he says he's just saying in passing, right, that none of the countries within the Caribbean region or CARICOM region have any conflicts, and you know what I mean, it's just a bunch of crap, if you ask me. Let me just emphasize here too. This is how these issues are dealt with through effective diplomacy, not to have town hall meetings and press conferences. No, remember he said earlier, because of the kickback, they were able to send things and whatever to the State Department to show, hey, you see what we've been saying about our people and what our people thinking is, and they could have used that to justify their position. But at the same time, he's saying, where is it? This is how these issues are dealt with effectively through diplomacy, not to have a ton of town hall meeting, not to have a ton of town hall meetings and press conferences. So you just vote for a government and then just don't like it and then come back to you. That's what you're saying. That is what you're saying. You and Ron Sanders can sit down and solve this road. What the hell I believe I be gods? You believe in God's I be? But you see, the electorate in this country have to wake up. I don't care who the politician is. I don't care which party is in government. You all are accountable to the people. And when you all reach the stage that you all are not accountable to people or feel you all are above being accountable to the people, that is time for you to go. That's what me say. That is my position. I hope that the majority of the electorate shares that position. No. This country is not your house. This country belongs to all of us. It goes up, all of us go up with it. It goes down, all of us go down with it. All of us have a say. It is not go and vote and then they say nothing. Them days are done. There was a time when them days was around, but them days they done. You understand? Them days are done. Finally, we have always maintained that the United States is our most important partner, most important trading partner, the most important partner in terms of source markets for our tourists. Yeah, gravelly no. We don't remember how it talk. Kamala told us about it. Kamala told us about it. She talked the truth. She spoke the truth when she said that. She spoke the truth. In my opinion, she spoke the truth. Anyway, and it is not in our interest to have an acrimony relationship, with the United States. No, you know that? All right. But the United States must understand that even though we are powerless, we still have to advocate to protect our own interests. And if we are going to be punished for our advocacy in interests of our own interests, then I would say this is very unfortunate. Well, let me just say to the politicians of this country, right? your interest, where your interests divert from the interest of the majority, you go. So the story about we, now come with that. Where where your interest is, and it does not line up with the interest of the majority of the electorate, you go. Understand that. I am not going to get into the discussion about China and this and that, right? I understand what is happening. I know what is happening, right? I understand what's happening, and I know what's happening. America under Donald Trump have said they're reintroducing the Monroe Doctrine. I think I hear them referring to it now as the Dunmo or the Dunroe Doctrine, playing on Donald Trump, Donald Trump name. And if the America is serious, as it seems to be, if the Americans are serious as they seems to be, then say they don't want China in their backyard. Then say they don't want Russia in their backyard. And whatever levers they have to use to accomplish that, they will. Where they have to use military might, they will. Where they have to use economic might, they will. And where they have to use travel as a weapon, they will. And we're seeing it playing out. I can't talk for the other Caribbean countries. I talk for Antigua. I'm Antiguan. I'm in a acquire Antigua citizenship. I'm born here. When I come, I have to serve 7 years. I'm born with the right. And if you and your government love China and believe that we should align ourselves with China, come to the people and let the people decide for themselves. Because I keep saying to the people around me, up to these days I'm talking here, no politician, to the best of my knowledge, and their close family, the visa that them they carry, the passport that them they carry, then I feel what we will feel. Then I feel what them feel. Because I had diplomatic passports. And we know at least one politician's son have it. You understand? So real something this year. A real talk this year. When your ideology do not match up with the majority, I go away. Until we come together again, my people. Rest well and God bless.